Good morning, Mr. Billy. This is our Statistics 1 project, and the members of this group include Daniela Pesa, Chin Kim, Gabriela Ascanio, Victoria Rosales, and me, Jorge Gallardo. Our topic is going to be physical activity related to career studies. We're going to present in the introduction the problem's fact and the results in Ecuador in past times and other countries. In the experimental design, the population, the sample, the sampling methods, the measurements, tools, and finally the results analysis. More than 2/3 of the Ecuadorian population in 2017 are facing obesity, according to the United Nations in their article presented by The Guardian. In 2017, Dr. Gustavo Orellana, in his interview with El Telegrafo, stated that 80% of the adult population that suffer from weight problems started when they were teenagers.
Universities tend to get students to decrease their physical activities, such as making sports, gym, or having the regular movement they should daily. This can be due to the amount of homework, reading, bad schedule, bad organization, responsibilities, etc. The objective of this mesh is to measure a set of variables, such as daily physical activity time, weight, etc., and measure the different results in a base of the career that they are studying, so we can get a conclusion of which career has students with less physical activity level.
In this study, we are going to divide the variables into two groups, demographic variables and study variable. In demographic variable, we have sex, age, height, weight, and faculties that are law, medicine, business, odontology, engineering, and architecture. In the study variable, we have alcohol and nutritional status, tobacco and nutritional status, career and nutritional status and hours of exercise, run and hours of day or of exercise, nutritional status and GPA with career, work with career and nutritional status, career year and nutritional status, gender and career with nutritional status, type of exercise, and nutritional status.
Now we're going to present the experimental design. The research population newest students is the first quarter of the year 2020. According to the Dean School of International Studies, there are 5,000 students in US approximately. The sample will be US students from different faculties. We are getting responses from US students from faculty of law, medicine, business, odontology, engineering, and architecture. In total of 120 responses. The purpose of this project is to know if different variables related to careers in the university affect the physical activity of each individual and how could affect their weight or health. This survey was developed in QuestionPro and was performed during the months of February and March of 2020. The survey, including 14 questions and the sampling method we used, was a convenient sampling as we decided to make the sample with US students as they were so close to hand. The questions going to be asked are going to be related to the following topics: gender, faculty, age, physical type, activity, time per week, time per day you do exercise, weight, height, number of classes per week, cursing year, and current GPA over 100. And the first question. The results in this question can be summed up in that the results of the first question, what is your age, present that there is a 35% of answers claimed they were 22 years old. 43.88 answers to this question claims they were students under the age of 22. The results of the second question, what is the gender you identify with, present that the 58.33% of the answers claimed they were women, and while the other 41.67% answers to this question claimed they were men. Results of the third question, what is your height, present that there is a 18.3% answers claimed that they were 1.75 meters tall. The mean of this question totaled 160 centimeters tall for all the people surveyed. 42.5% of the answers of the question that were shorter than 1 meter and 64 centimeters.
Now we're going to present the fourth question, that is, how much do you weigh? The results present that the 27.5% of answers claim that they were between 160 pounds and 180 pounds. The mean of this question totaled 148.3 pounds for the people surveyed. Only 5% of the answers to this question claim they weighed less than 120 pounds. Result of the fifth question, to what faculty do you belong, present that all faculties had the same amount of people surveyed. 16.7% of the answers claimed they were respectively a certain faculty. These were 16.7% for medicine, 16.7% for law, 16.7% for ontology, and so on. Sixth question. The result of the sixth question, in what year the career you are in, present that most people that answered the survey were working the fourth year at the time that the survey was taken. These were that the 31.7% fourth year of school. The two most responsive years were both second year and the fifth. Both categories amounted 13.3% respectively.
The seventh question, what is the number of classes you are taking this semester, present that most students are taking 4 classes. The percentage of this category is 37.5%. The mean in this question is 4 classes. The least amount of classes is 7 that have a 0.8% out of the 120 students. The eighth question is, do you have a job? The results of this question show that the majority, 71.67% of the students doesn't have a job, and 28.33% have a job. The ninth question, what type of physical activity do you perform, has as a result that the majority out of 120 students, 53.3% perform a gymnastic activity. The least group is 0.83% that practice an artistic activity, and 20.83% doesn't practice physical activity.
Question number 10 talks about how many days a week do you perform physical activity, and the results for this question are the following. The majority of the 120 students, from that number, 56.7% practice 3 or 4 days per week, and only 2.5% of the sample practice 5 to 7 days per week. Question number 11, how many hours a week do you perform physical activity? And the results are the following. 36.7% practice around 1 hour to 1 hour 30. Only 5% of the sample practice less than 30 minutes, and 16.7% does not perform any physical activity.
About the alcohol consumption, we found out that 53.3% of students do drink alcohol, to the 46.67% who don't drink alcohol. 89.17% of students do not smoke, and 10.83% do smoke. We gotta keep in mind that smoking includes socially smoking, and smoking once a week or in the weekends in a meeting or vaping. All that includes to be a smoker.
In question number 14, we asked for the GPAs of each student, and we classified them between intervals of 5. The most of the students have their GPA between 85 to 90. And in the second place, there are students with the GPA of 80 to 85. In the vibrate analysis, we start with the relationship between a nutritional state and the career being studied. We found out that there is a relationship between your nutritional state and the career you're studying. For example, but this varies depending on of the career which you are studying. For example, an engineer, we found out the most over quantity of overweight students were there, next to the business career. We found out then that in the case of odontology, most of the students are eutrophic nutritional state. There were only a few cases of obesity in the case of law's career and medicine career. It's a shame to say that depending on the difficulty of each career or the quantity of things they make students do in each career can affect their nutritional state, because this can be a factor that takes time away from them to start physical activity or good nutrition habits. We also made a cluster bar chart which tells us in which career there are more drinkers compared to their nutritional state. This graphic tells us how alcohol can increase the CME of each person. So our alcohol drinkers were the ones who had more overweight than the non-alcohol drinkers, which they got the trophic nutritional state. We can also see that there is more percentage of obesity in the case of alcohol drinkers than the non-alcohol drinkers.
Relationship between job related to nutritional state, we found out that 64.7% of students that have a job fit in the category of overweight, and 51.2% of students that doesn't have a job fit in the category of eutrophic, which means that they have an healthy nutritional state. In the relationship between academic year related to nutritional state, we found out that 72% of students that are in the first year have an eutrophic nutritional state, 43.8% of the students that are in second year have an eutrophic nutritional state, but also 43.8% of the students that are in the second year have an obesity nutritional state. 52% of the students that are in the third year have an eutrophic nutritional state. 57.9% of the students that are in their fourth year have an overweight nutritional state, and 56.2% of the students that are in their fifth year have an overweight nutritional state.
Now I'm going to present the Byron analysis between the relationship between type of exercise and the nutritional state. I'm going to present the most competent results, which were that 67% of the students that are considered eutrophic practice any type of gymnastic exercise. As 0% of students that practice any type of gymnastic exercise are considered obese. 69.2% of students that are considered malnourished practice any type of gymnastic exercises. 31.8% of the students that are considered overweight do not practice any type of exercise. 77.8% of students that are considered obese practice any type of recreative exercises. 64.8% of students in this study are considered eutrophic. 10.8% of these studies students are considered obese. Then we created a relationship between nutritional state and the amount of exercise hours. Then again, I'm gonna present only the most competent results. 38.5% of students in this survey are considered malnourished, are students who practice exercise from 30 minutes to an hour. 50% of students in this survey that are considered eutrophic practice exercise from an hour to an hour and a half. 31.8% of students in this survey that are considered overweight practice exercise from 1 hour to 1 hour and a half. 77.8% of students in this survey that are considered obese practice exercise from half an hour to 1 hour. 0% of these students are considered obese, practice exercise between an hour and 2 hours. Now I'm going to present the relationship between nutritional state and a smoker. 89.70% of students in this survey don't smoke. 10.83% of students in this survey do smoke. Out of the 10.83% of students that do smoke, 9.17 are overweight, 0.83% are atrophic, and 0.83% have obesity. 44.17% of the non-smoker are atrophic, 27.50% have overweight, 6.67% suffer from obesity, and 10.83 are malnourished. Now I'm going to present a cluster bar percent alcohol drinkers and the relationship to the careers. The faculty with the more number of alcohol drinkers is architecture, with a whopping 15% of students surveyed. The faculty with the less number of alcohol drinkers is odontology, with 11.7%. The faculty with the majority of smokers is business, 6.7%, and the faculty with the less numbers of smokers is between engineering and odontology, with 16.7% each.
I'm going to talk about the relationship between nutritional state and students' GPA. So the vast majority of students have a GPA of 85. Most students with a GPA of 85 are malnourished, with 30.8%. The vast majority of students with a GPA of 88 face obesity, with 77.8%. Most of the students have a GPA lower than 85. 3 students have a GPA higher than 95 but are malnourished. The healthier students are the ones with a GPA of 82 with 20.4%, and students with a GPA of 89 are the ones with a higher level of obesity with 27.3%. Now the relationship between nutritional state and gender. In medicine, there are more malnourished females than men. Females have a larger majority of healthy and overweight people, and in obesity, female and male have the same amount. In business, there are more healthy women than men. There is also more overweight women than men. In law, there is more overweight men than women, and there is also presented more obesity in men than women. In architecture, there is more healthier men than women. In odontology, there is more healthier women than men. And in engineering, there is more healthy men than women, and there is also more overweight women than men.
In conclusion, there is a directly proportional relationship between the increase of body mass index and the decrease of physical activity, in the same way that there is a relationship between the increase in body mass index according to the university degree studied. The results vary depending on the career, placing the business career students in the position of most physical activity per weight, and the students from odontology in the bottom of the list. It also turns out that there is a relationship between the amount of physical activity performed with the career being studied. There were also other comparisons made that were proportional to the rates of CMI. These factors were alcohol consumption, smoking, having a job, and being in the last academic years. Some factors like exercise, hours, type of physical activity were proportional to the decrease of CMI. Some factors didn't affect at all the increase or the decrease of CMI, like the gender or the GPA. In conclusion, there is a relationship between the university career that you study and the increase of CMI. Thank you. Following, there is the references and the annexes.